What is up, bros, hoes, and motherfucking mofos? No, I'm just playing. That was kind of lame as fuck. Welcome back to Good Mythical Morning. I'm sorry. I've been watching too much YouTube. Anyway, welcome motherfucking back to the Did I Overshare Podcast. And I am happy you guys are in my presence today, and I am in yours. I haven't seen you in a week, and I know I have, been very off and on with the podcasting, and I'm sorry. Life is getting me the best of me. It is, y'all. Save me now, because I don't think I can do it myself. But I hope you guys are doing great. I really do. I miss you guys so much, and I am still always so grateful for the community we have here today. And I really do hope this episode that I will be doing today helps you, inspires you, and motivates you to be a great person. All right? I did want to let you guys know I did end up going to the Janae concert last week, and I want to also let you know I am negative 80 black points right now. I am currently, my blackness score dropped negative 80 because, as I recall my high ass in my last episode, I'm over here ooh, I've been listening to UMI for 6 years. Bitch, if I did, I would have knew her name was Umi. It's the stupidness of it all, Which I guess it's not stupid because I didn't know, Clearly my ass was saying, Sade. That I think that in its own was the negative 80 points. That was so anti-black of me. So anti-smart of me. Oh my God, guys. Am I really I don't know, I just feel like that hurt my ego because I was like, damn. But to be fair, I was never really a Sade kind of listener. I'm more of a Nerika Badu, Cleo Soul kind of girl. I don't know. Her music's good though. It's good. Yeah. But yeah. So I feel like I dropped some points and I will be working on getting that back later on this month because yeah. But that concert, oh my gosh, it was the best thing I think I've ever witnessed in my life. The starters, fucking phenomenal, guys. Fucking phenomenal. Janae was great in her own. Her presence, great. But the starters, I feel like she picked the best people she could have had. We had Kiana Lede. She started. She was so fucking good. And then we had Umi and her little... She was so good. And when I tell you this bitch made us meditate, the affirmations were there. She was my favorite person to the whole night. I loved that hoe. And I loved her before I went. But seeing her in person, oh, it's like a breath of fresh air. And then we had Tink 8. Tink just brought back 7th grade for me, 8th grade, I don't know. And then we had Coi Leray, and I don't really know a lot of her songs. It was some of them I knew from TikTok, but that little motherfucker can dance. When I tell you she turned that motherfucker up, we were so turned. When I tell you she can dance so damn good, I was like, what the fuck? It was just so good. 10 out of 10. If you like her and you were debating it, you should go. But let me know how you guys are doing. I do have that Google form on the Instagram. Please let me know if you have episode suggestions or just want to ramble. I'm here, and we can talk about it on the podcast. I would love to do some episodes like that. But yeah, so let's get into today's actual fucking episode topic. So today is how we can recognize and empathize, all that extra shit with our triggers. Do we know what triggers us? How can we recognize it in the day-to-day life? And, how can we effectively heal and move on through our day with them, right? Because I feel like I've had a lot of events happen to me this past, 3 weeks that have really showcased what my triggers are and how I deal with them, because clearly it's not good. Clearly, I thought I was healing. She kind of went out the window. But anyway, and what I mean by this, by our triggers, I'm kind of talking about things when we hear them or we're in the presence of this action or this saying or these energies, we just want to crawl into a ball, or we get super angry, or we just want to cry, we want to run away, something that brings us back to a traumatic moment, or something that brings us back to our past, something along those lines. And I think we all have some. Even if they're not bad or, heavy, I think we all have them and we might not realize it. So I think that is a real big problem nowadays, because I feel like a lot of times we invalidate our own feelings and we're like, okay, it's not that serious, it's fine, it's not happening. But our repressed, the more we keep repressing those emotions, these triggers are never going to go away, and they're always going to be heightened each situation, or, you know, worse each situation. So I feel like making this episode is really important to me, especially for myself, because like I said, these episodes help me as well. I think learning to not internalize what's going on, rather like we could start to communicate and, you know, try to help ourselves in how we can digest and learn how to deal with these coping mechanisms and these feelings that occur, and how, like, what we have. So first, I'm going to say we need to identify our triggers. That is the main thing, because how can you know what's triggering you if you don't know how to pinpoint those feelings? So I'm going to name a couple of my situations and how I felt during them, how I've dealt with them, and, you know, the stuff like that. So, like, some I have, let's say I'm at Michi's house, right? Like, when we go home for, like, Thanksgiving or a holiday and stuff like that, and I just hear a lot of yelling. Like, it's just very loud. There's a lot of yelling. I get stressed out, and I want to cry, and I want to leave, or I want to go upstairs by myself, or I want to do that. That loudness in a very small place triggers me. It triggers me to my childhood, because there was so much yelling and so much arguing. I want to go run into a wall and hide. Like, and that's what triggers me. And so I think my biggest problem today is I don't like people at my house. Like, now that I have my own place, I hate people here. Like, I just feel like this is the one place I can be in a ball anywhere, and I can feel safe. So it's when people are here, it gets too loud, it gets too much. I feel like I have no control over the situation. And that's a really big trigger for me. And I tend to turn into a bitch. Are we surprised? No. But I tend to see, especially with my own place now, I'm like, okay, well, no, I don't want people here. I don't want people visiting. I don't want this, that, the other. And that affects me too. That affects my roommate. That affects the whole situation. But that affects me as well, because I'm still living in a mindset to where I can't deal with this. I'm just going to keep allowing these noise and these stressors to stress me out. So what am I going to do when I have kids and, you know, it's loud at the fucking dinner table? Am I just going to run away and curl into a ball? No. This is why we need to learn to identify and try to control these triggers. Granted, you can't really stop one. They're always going to happen, if you know, but you can make the feeling not feel suffocating, you know? You don't have to sit there and, you know, feel such heavy emotions. You can work through it, and you can learn how to make them lighter and how to manage it. So I think for me, what I've started to do is I'm trying to point out what I can control and what I cannot control. If someone comes over, I can control how well I treat them, how I react, how I don't yell in the situation, how I calm my nervous system down, and not be stuck in a fight or flight situation, and not just want to leave my house or, you know, try to run away. Because I did that. One of my roommates had some family up here this past weekend. And when I got off work at like 9 p.m., they were all over cooking dinner, you know. And there was a lot of them. They have a big family. But I just sat in my car. I sat in my car for like 2 hours on my phone reading a book. Because I didn't want to go in. Like, I don't know. I just didn't want to be too much. I didn't want to get angry. I didn't want to get mad. And I knew that was a place where that was good for me to take some time to myself. But also, I'm not going to heal if I don't get out the box, go in there, and see how good of a situation this can be. Because I could walk in and it could be hell, and there's a reason why I feel like this, and it could remind me of my childhood and be exactly that. But it wasn't. I walked in, it was loud, but it was loud with laughter, and it was loud with love. And it was loud with, they were cooking, they made me dinner. So it was like, okay, well, now I have a positive event to counterpart my bad one. So I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm like, okay, well, clearly it's not that bad. So now Michi has a friend coming up in next week or whatever, and I'm okay for that. Yeah, I'm so stressed out, but like, that's the anxiety part of my head, because I think my head's like, what if they wreck the house? What if it's dirty? What if they're loud? What if we get a noise complaint? Like, I also go that way. Like, there's a lot that goes on in one like instance in my brain. But I think it helped me calm down if I'm putting myself in these positive situations, so I don't always think about the negative. So I definitely do think if you feel like you're in a situation where you just want to run and hide because it reminds you of something else, try to be open. Sometimes I feel like we can kind of read a room and know when some shit's about to pop off. But if we feel like, okay, this could make up for my bad experience, try it. Because now I view it differently. I don't want to be a bitch, and I don't want to yell, and I don't want to cry and freak out when a whole bunch of like loudness or laughter occurs, because it stresses me out. And it does. And, you know, there's a lot of reasons it does. But I don't think I will look at it like that anymore because I did have a positive experience. And a lot of the times with him, I do have positive experiences. It's just I always feel like I'm on eggshells. And, you know, I never know when shit's really about to go crazy. So there was that situation. And I feel like a lot happens with that. Like, we have triggers in relationships, with friendships, with families. And I feel like there's a lot of things when it happens, we just kind of shut down. Or, like, we do the opposite of shut down. We just go fucking batshit. Like, we just get really angry. Like, we blow our fuse and shit like that. It's very accurate. And I had another experience, I'd say, like, literally this week. So I've made a friend at work, and, like, we are literally just alike. Literally fucking just alike. And when I tell you down to the motherfucking T, like, this is my bitch. And I was at work one day and she really wasn't speaking to me. And I was like, what's going on? So I thought it was something with her family because I was getting off anyway. And then I come back the next day and she is actively avoiding me. She's actively trying not to talk to me, or, you know, but not in like, oh, fuck you, bitch. And it's like a, please, I don't want to talk. Like, and I'm like, oh, fuck, what I do? And I think this brought up so much for me. Like, I literally cried about it at work. And for me, it's not the thing. I'm like, it's not because people don't like me. First of all, I want her to like me. I don't really, like, you know, it's not a big thing for me. But, like, we were being really good friends. What did I do? What happened? And for me, this brought up a lot of triggers for me because I've always been, like, it's how it was with my mother. It's how it's been with friends. I would never know if I said the wrong thing or if I looked the wrong way, if I said the wrong action. So when people shut down on me and I have no clue what I did, it stresses me out, like, and I get really in my head because I'm just like, I've always been the bad guy. Like, in every situation, I've always been the bad guy. And I don't know what to do. I just kind of shut down because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like such a bad person, but what did I do? Like, why didn't she like me? What, did I make a joke that wasn't funny? And so I start rambling and I start overthinking. Like, it's the opposite of my last one. I don't get angry and want to, you know, crash out on people and run away. No, I want to cry. Like, I feel bad because it's like, I don't know if I looked at you the wrong way. I don't know if I said something, and it really stresses me out. Later forth, we figured out the situation. We're literally just the fucking same, literally the same. But yeah, it was just a little misunderstanding. Nothing serious, not at all. We're just the same person, and she reacted just how I would in the situation. And I think it was I'm gonna, like, say her part, but, like, she doesn't, nothing like that. And it's like, it's literally something I would live. It was a situation where I was talking about myself and she thought I was talking about her, but it was like me telling her to shut the fuck up, like she's talking too much. But I was talking about myself, like I was talking too much to a customer and she thought I was talking about her, and I just made her shut down because more things on top of that, people are always telling her, like, she grew up with people telling her to shut up, like she talks too much, she does too much. And I'm like, are you me? Are you me? I literally made a podcast on this. And I was like, are you fucking me, bitch? And I was like, I would never, like, say something. I would never make anybody feel like they have to shut up because I felt like that my whole entire life, no matter what I said. And it was literally just a misunderstanding. She did exactly what I did. You should shut down. You try to be mysterious and you try to be this, that, the other, because that triggered her as well. And it triggered me. It just triggered two different parts of the spectrum. But that is how a small situation like that can affect you. Somebody doing hand motions and you not really knowing what they said can affect you. And you don't really realize that somebody saying a word can affect you and, like, just bring up past emotions that you just don't know what to deal with. Like, they're heavy. And a lot of that shit, it really does date back to our childhood, but a lot of traumatic friendships and shit like that. Like, there's a lot of things I'm, like, scared to do, or, like, when situations happen, I don't know what to do. Because I don't want to say the wrong thing, or I don't want to do the wrong thing, because a lot triggers me. Like, a lot really fucking does. Because I have been stepping on eggshells my whole life with every single person. I never know how to make a good or bad move. I never know if I'm doing too much or I'm not doing enough. Like, it's always something like that. And I think we have those triggers. We have those triggers in our relationships. What is one I have, like, with Michi? I wouldn't say I have a lot of triggers with relationships per se. I think getting the silent treatment really affects me because it really stresses me out. So, like, he'll have days where he just doesn't want to talk necessarily, but he doesn't really communicate that as well as he's supposed to. But, like, he'll just be very short, and I'm like, hey, or, like, you know, just talking because, you know, I'm always fucking yapping. And so the days he is very short, or he's not talking a lot, it really affects me, and it kind of makes him feel bad because now I'm losing my shit. But he's like, I really just didn't want to talk. But a lot of things with our triggers, it all comes down to communication and how we can better our communication and how we can voice these triggers, what can stop them, or how somebody is like causing them with us. So for me with him, the silent treatment affects me a lot. Like, I would get the silent treatment as a child with friends. Like, it really fucks with me. So if you're randomly just not talking, like the thing before, I just feel like, what the fuck did I do? And I just literally get catastrophic. It gets so bad because I'm just like, and I don't even try to think about the possibilities. Oh, they might have something going on, this, that, the other. It's, what did I do? Why are they mad at me? What happened? What did I do? And that just takes me back to a child, like a little girl, because that's how I was with my whole family. What the fuck did I do? Why is nobody talking to me? Why am I being ignored? Like, what's the problem? So I have that in my relationships, my friendships, and everything, and it really stresses me out. Even if someone's in a bad mood, I tend to internalize it and think about my problems and what I did to affect them, or how I made them mad, or how I made them sad. So that's something we had to communicate in our relationship on. If he doesn't want to talk, he doesn't have to, like, you know, because I do the exact same thing, but he understands that, and he doesn't have that past issue of feeling bad when he's ignored. So, like, you know, that's not really a thing with him. So when I just don't want to talk, he kind of understands that. But now, since I do view it that way and it does affect me like that, he does have to communicate, and I do have to communicate as well. It has to be a two-way street. Hey, I really don't want to talk right now. I promise I'm not mad at you. Like, everything's fine. I just don't want to talk. And it will be like, okay, from there. So I feel like we need to do that in many friendships with our lives, or, like, you know, with parents or teachers. It's kind of like setting boundaries in a way, but also setting a boundary for yourself and them, like, at the same time. So if you feel like you're with somebody, let's say constantly, and they're constantly triggering you, how you, like, in your head, you constantly feel like you don't know what they're about to say and how it's about to affect you. You always feel like you're getting your feelings hurt or something's wrong, but the person really might not mean it, or they don't know it triggers you because it doesn't trigger them. That is when we need to communicate it. And it's so hard to communicate our triggers because a lot of it's just so fucking internalized, and we've been dealing with it our whole lives. We don't know if we sound crazy or not. So I think it's very big that we need to talk and voice how we feel, but in a way where it's like, hey, I know you don't mean this, and I don't know if you say it and stuff like this, but it really does affect me, and it just takes me to a place where I'm not really comfortable. So can we please, try to work on this, not say it, limit it, stuff like that. Because I think all it takes is a little conversation to fix a lot of the problems that we internalize and a lot of the problems that go on in our day-to-day life within our relationships around us. I think it just takes all one small conversation about each thing. And when a person knows you, I feel like they can pick up on it. But I think there's a lot of things more than just emotional triggers, where, like, what I was just talking about, more than just emotional triggers with relationships, boyfriends, girlfriends, sisters, brothers. I think there's also the triggers about your home life and stuff like that. So something that kind of, this is considered a trigger, but I wouldn't say, like, I let it eat me alive. I think I definitely get a little insecure when these conversations come up, and it makes me want to go into, like, a little ball, like a little roly-poly, and it really stresses me out. It's like when people talk about their car, or like I'll be at work, or like I'll be at school or something like that, and everybody's talking about my car is so bad, which everybody's entitled to an opinion, but it's like a 2018 Kia Stinger, and you're just like, with air and all that shit, and they're just like, and everybody starts comparing theirs to each other, and it makes me not want to say anything. But in those situations, that's kind of our own problem, in that we don't really have to voice that with somebody else, because I'm sorry, but that's not their problem. It's not their problem you don't have a good car. It's not their problem you didn't come from the best life. That's not their problem. That's our problem. But now we have to navigate how are we going to deal with this? Are we going to think about what I don't have and comparing it to them and how they're complaining? They have every right to complain if they don't like their 2023 Kia Stinger. That's on them. They can complain. That's their life. And maybe we could judge them for that, but they're entitled to that. But we can't, I don't think it's fair to have somebody want to tiptoe around us when it comes to a normal, general conversation. I think that's more of so on us, like if it comes on the topic of cars and stuff like that, or, homes, just, all that stuff, to think about, okay, Well, am I going to continue feeling insecure about what I don't have, or am I to sit here and be like, okay, well, I'm grateful I have this? I'll be more extremely grateful if I have this, but I'm grateful what I have in front of me. And, you know, there's a reason this bothers me, but it's kind of out of my control. You need to consider what's in your control and what's not. Because, yeah, I get a little down in the dumps when we're talking about cars, not like upset or anything. I just start thinking about, damn, I don't have air. Half the leather in my car is fucked up. Like, my fucking front bumper is drilled on. Like, people look at my car like it's fucking crazy. But guess what? I used to sit here and think, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed to pull up in this, or I'm so this, that, the other. Now I'm like, because when I was like so embarrassed to do this, I'd feel bad in those situations. Now that I'm looking at it from a different angle, I'm like, I have a fucking car. Some people have to walk to work, catch the bus, or they're not even able to get to work. So shut the fuck up. Zoe, shut the fuck up. Your feelings are valid, yes. They're valid to you. You don't know the person next to you, story. You don't know that. So accept what you have. You might not fucking have air, and you didn't have air in the winter. You don't have air in the summer. I mean, heat in the winter or air in the summer. But I get to work. I get to work, and I get to work safely, and my car runs perfectly fine. I might sweat my fucking ass off and sweat my hair out, but I get there safely. Shit could be better, but this is the best I have it, so I'm going to be grateful for it. Those are how we can work through those kind of triggers. And then we do have triggers, like, we have triggers when it comes to, like, actual ones. Trigger warning for everything right now, okay? There's triggers when it comes to self-harm. There's triggers when it comes to eating disorders. There's triggers when it comes to body dysmorphia, depression, like all of that. And I think for me, like, I had a trigger with self-harm. Not for me, like, for me personally, I don't have like a big one where it's like people can't talk about it or they can't do that. But that is a thing with people. So I think when it comes to those conversations, we definitely need to be a little bit more loose flowing. But I definitely do think, hey, you got to be prepared. This is life. People are going to say what the fuck they're going to say. Like, come on, we need to prepare ourselves for this. But in my head, I think what triggers me specifically for that, I don't get triggered by talking about it. And I'm a really dark humor bitch. So I'll joke from here and there. Like, and that's just very me. But I relapsed 2 years ago. And that is simply because I had a trigger I didn't know. I seen some fresh old ones right in the, what is it? I seen them right in person, and I just froze. I was like, ooh, what the fuck, girl? And guess what? But that was a trigger for me I didn't know I had. I didn't know I had. So that I had to work through, and I was like, this cannot affect you. Like, it can affect you, yes, and you can feel however you want to feel, but acting like that is completely, like, that's not right. That's not. You're not about to sit here and relapse every time you see that shit, because guess what? You got so many more years on this fucking planet. If you can't get up and go to work and, you know, might see some uncomfortable shit, you need to deal with that. And I dealt with it. Yeah, it makes me fucking uncomfortable sometimes, or like this, that, the other. If I see some fresh ones, of course, I feel like that would make anybody uncomfortable. But I would no longer allow myself to relapse. I kind of worked myself through that trigger, and I was like, okay, this can't happen. Or like people get triggers about like eating disorders, because that's real. That shit happens every day, and that's trauma. That's heavy trauma. So yeah, I think we do need to be careful about what we're saying in everyday public. But us, as you know, the people who have been affected by this and deal with this, we need to also know that people aren't going to protect us in this world. You know, people don't have to put a censor on what they say because you feel uncomfortable. You're going to feel uncomfortable. There's fucked up people in this world, and there's not. Some people mean no harm. But if we go through these triggers and learn how to deal with them and learn how to cope with them, we won't have to go through these bad things. We will still have those feelings, and I think we'll have those feelings till we die, because those are very real things everybody's went through. Going through heartbreaks, going through, you know, loss of family members. Those are real triggers everybody goes through. And of course, if there's a conversation about it, or a topic about it, or an assignment, or you're just randomly thinking about it, that's going to affect you. And I think we don't need to make ourselves feel bad because this happens and we feel this way and you thought you were growing. We don't need to feel bad about that, because I'm going to be so honest with you guys. This is why I've been so off and on this month, because I relapsed 2 years ago during this time. The summer is always it for me, and I really thought it would be different. I think last year there was just a lot going on, and I really thought it was going to be different, but all those feelings just come back to me because I've never worked them out. But I tell myself growth isn't linear. If I'm going to keep feeling these repressed feelings every June and July, because that's how it's been since I started in 7th grade. I'm going to keep feeling them because I've never dealt with them. I've never digested them. I've always joked about it, moved the fuck on, and that was it. I've never dealt with them. And there's so many other things like that in my life that still trigger me because I don't deal with them. I push them aside or make them seem like they're insignificant and not that big. And I feel like a lot of us as a society, even if they're not like big things like, you know, self-harm, and it's like just little relationship things or, you know, little day-to-day stuff, we need to learn how to deal with them and how to not let them take over our lives. They're not the driver. We are. Kick that bitch out the seat. I'm sorry. We need to learn how to deal with it because we don't know if our kids are going to go through it or our friends, stuff like that. Like, we just need to learn how to effectively communicate, which we can do, and that is a very possible thing. It is extremely uncomfortable. God, I fucking hate talking about my feelings because I don't want them to be invalidated. But as I say in every episode, if someone invalidates your feelings because of how you feel genuinely, it doesn't matter if it's stupid or fucking not. Mind you, nothing is stupid. But even if it's the fucking smallest thing, they're not for you, they're not your friend, and they do not love you. Somebody who loves you will not do that to you. Because where you hurt, how small or big it is. If you hurt, you hurt. That's it. It doesn't matter. It is valid either way and any way. So that's kind of it. All I have on today's episode. There were, I'm gonna put a little trigger warning at the beginning, but yeah, that was all I had for today's episode, and I really hope you can take a lot from this and, you know, try to identify those triggers in your life, and when you're going on and when they happen in the situation, try to take control over them rather than having them take control over you. But yeah, love you guys. Slay. That's all I got. Love you guys, and I hope you have a blessed day. Follow Did I Overshare Instagram, Did I Overshare TikTok, and the Google Forms are in the Instagram highlight section. So just, you know, leave feedback. Love you guys so much. Bye.